Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video we are going to talk about two things. One, the thread priority, and the second one, how to make a thread sleep. So first let's start with thread priority. All the threads, actually one thing that's pretty cool is that you can name your threads. So for example, you can say here that this is thread 1A, and then you can add here, comma, so thread 1A, to B, C, and D. So now if you execute this code, you will see that we have the thread's name here. Now, talking about priority. All the threads, you can set the priority. So the priority is a number, usually from 1 to 10. But the JVM is actually a specification. You actually have several different implementations. So for example, you have OpenJDK, you have Oracle JDK, you have Amazon JDK. So the priority here may change. It's always an integer because of the specification says it should be integer, but the priority may change. For example, usually you can have 1 to 10, but there is this thread dot. You have norm priority, minimum priority, and max priority. So you can see the values is 1, 5 for norm, and 10 for max priority. So what happens if a JVM has the max priority to 5? Well, they will do the math and figure out that they should use 5 when you pass 10, for example. So you should not worry about that. In the end, what you should do is actually use this attribute max priority. That's just an integer. So what should the priority do? For example, if I tell here thread 4 set priority max priority, ideally in the perfect scenario, you are telling the scheduler, hey, thread 4 should have priority over the other thread. So for example, if you have thread 4 and thread 1 on runnable states, could be that the thread 4 will be the one being picked by the scheduler, but in the end that is not guaranteed. So if you execute this, you will see here that we have thread 1 and then thread 4, but that does not necessarily mean that we will have the D being executed all the time. So you're just giving a hint to the scheduler, hey, I would like you to take this thread 4 and give priority to the execution of it. Well, but in the end, you are just asking nicely. It's up to the scheduler to decide if it should do it or not. So it's not guaranteed. Now, one of the few things that's guaranteed is that when you tell the thread to sleep for the number of milliseconds that you have here, for example, 2000, the thread will actually sleep for 2 seconds. And as you can see, we have to handle this by adding a try catch. It's not possible to throw because this method does not throw originally from the runnable interface. And here you are telling that when this thread reaches line 38 and executes this piece of code, it will actually sleep for 2 seconds. So this is guaranteed. And if it doesn't, you will get a nice interrupted exception. So let's execute and see how it works. So as you can see, we have thread 1, 4, and then we have thread 2, and then B, thread 3, and then you have the main method, and here it keeps the execution. So what's happening here? First, let's understand that the thread.sleep is static. So it belongs to this thread. Remember, no other thread can tell each other to sleep. So this thread, the one being executed right now, for example, T1 is the one that is deciding, hey, I'm going to sleep for 2 seconds. In this case, the thread will go to blocked state. And then after 2 seconds passed, it will go back to runnable, and it's up to scheduler, hey, I'm going to pick you up because you are ready to start running again. So it's interesting because it doesn't necessarily mean that for this piece of code, the thread will execute without interruptions. So it can be, for example, actually from here. So it can be that the thread 1 is executing this, and then before it reaches the 4, you have thread 2 and 3 starting here and going all the way here. So thread 1 is still waiting at this part right here. And that's how you get this kind of a mess here. So you have thread 1, thread 4, and as you can see, the thread 1, it didn't print the value A. So maybe we should give better naming here. So we can remove this. Actually, we can use block selection, holding the mouse wheel. And then we can stop and execute again. Let's see if we, okay, so as you can see, we have thread 0, 3, and then we have the D. Technically, the D is from thread 3, if you count 0, index 1, 2, 3, 4. So T4 is actually thread 3. And you can see that we actually execute the first line, this one, and then it starts the 4, it prints the first D, and then the thread 2 takes over. And then you can see the rest, it's going over and over. But basically, the guarantee that you have is that when the threads, they reach this piece of code, they are going to sleep for 2 seconds. And this piece of code, it does not necessarily need to be inside the run, because, for example, you have everywhere threads running. So you can also add here as the main method. And this means that the main thread, when it reaches this, is going to sleep for 2 seconds. So if you add here, for example, 10 seconds, and you remove this thread sleep right here, and you stop, Control F2 to stop the program, Control Shift F10. Now you won't see the thread main finishing that anymore. It's going to wait for 10 seconds, and after these 10 seconds, the last line that you are going to see will be, oops, where is it? I didn't have this guy, so we can add here. This is the one. So okay, maybe 5 seconds is more than enough. Control Shift F10. So as you can see, we don't have anything related to the main method, and after 5 seconds you will see that it will continue with line 67. That's all the way here. Okay, so that's it. In the next video we are going to talk about yield and join. So see you there. Bye.